Buenos dias. Okay, so we are to Friday. We made it to Friday. We made it through a whole entire week. We have 2 more weeks until winter break. Sorry, not winter break. It is Thanksgiving break for us. So we don't have an official fall break, but we do get a whole week off at Thanksgiving. So we're 2 weeks away from that. We are at the end of week 13, going into week 14 of dual language kindergarten. And I'm here just a little bit before contract time. I have 10 minutes, so we're going to see what we can get in 10 minutes and kind of talk about what we've been doing, progress being made, changes that we've made in the classroom just to make life easier as we're adjusting to the students that are here with us in our classroom this year. So, of course, there is no shortage of coffee. This morning I am drinking an Annihilator from Dutch Bros. Very delicious. But let's get into it, okay? So, first of all, this week I decided we were done with morning work. My students are not really utilizing it as a review time, and that time in the morning that they're at the tables working is a lot of time for arguments to begin, which no one wants to start their day off in an argument. So instead of doing 10 minutes of quiet morning work, we are coming in and hanging up backpacks, making our lunch choices, and coming right to the carpet and getting started with a story and a song and calendar and doing our morning greetings. We have our microphone out, so our students are using the microphone every single morning to give saludos to their classmates, which has been so amazing to hear them kind of speak up and take the lead and be in charge. That is, I think it's kind of a softer start. A lot of our friends are kind of just not ready to get going, which is strange because our school day doesn't start until 9 o'clock. And so I thought for sure our kiddos would be up and rearing to go and in a good mood. And that is not the case. That is not the case for a lot of our students. So that is one of the changes that we've made. We're going to try that until Thanksgiving break and see how it goes. We still do have like a few stragglers who are coming in later than that time, and they're missing a lot of the morning meeting. But, we're just going to have to make adjustments as we go. Okay, so for our calendar time, nothing has changed. We're still talking about a pattern, a color pattern, days of the week, months in the year. In November, I do like a book challenge with my kids where I encourage them to read books that are more culturally diverse. So I set up a reading list for them. It's a calendar and it has Google links and YouTube links and Amazon links basically to different types of books. So far we've read a couple of them in class, and then they've been challenged at home to read some of them. On the calendar are books like book about Dia de los Muertos, books about what is Diwali, books about Veterans Day, books about Diabetic Awareness Month, obviously books about Thanksgiving and Indigenous heritage and the Native Americans, just to give them kind of more exposure, because I am just a half-day teacher. There are so many aspects of the dual language classroom, like teaching them more about the heritage that I don't exactly have a lot of time with, but this is really quick, easy thing we can do. And most of our parents are reading with their kids in the evening, so I'm just kind of giving them a suggested book list. So that's been really cool to do with my students. Okay, let's move on to math. We are in Eureka Math Module 3, and we are on Lesson 3 right now on a Friday. We did take a couple of days off just because I'm trying to keep pace with my kindergarten team here. Even though they're not teaching in Spanish, we try to be teaching the same lesson at the same time. So in week 12, we did take a little breather and spent more time on reading and writing. But we are in Eureka Math Module 3, where we're talking about new vocabulary words, comparing objects, longer, shorter, taller, that sort of thing. That's going really well. The kids do great when things are kind of like hands-on and kind of topics that they understand. There is a lesson where they get like a little piece of yarn or a cord, and they get to go around the classroom and measure things that are longer than the cord, shorter than the cord. And they absolutely loved that. It was so cute watching them with their little clipboards and their cord and drawing. So math has been going really good. I did get up 2 recordings for Module 3. I have been lacking this week just in my personal life. We've had a lot of things going on in the evenings, and I have not had time to create those PowerPoint slides. So I'm working on those, just not at probably a fast enough speed to keep up with the needs of everyone. But I don't use them in my classroom every day. They're more of just kind of an extra resource, an emergency resource. Like, for example, I'm going to be gone on Monday afternoon, and so my substitute teacher will be able to use those videos to teach math, and my students won't have to have any break in their learning. So that's really great. Benchmark. Benchmark is my reading and writing, grammar, phonics curriculum. Okay, we also use Estrellita. We've taken a pause from Estrellita. Estrellita is what we used probably the first 6 to 8 weeks of school to introduce letter sounds and sonido inicial. Now that we've moved into Benchmark, we're really working on letter names, and this week was the first week we were blending syllabus. So that was really exciting for their phonics curriculum. They're blending syllabus. We're practicing that, with hand gestures. We're practicing it with visuals. And then we've even gotten the magnet boards and kind of built them. We've used dry erase boards and practiced stretching out the sounds and writing them on the whiteboards. We got our first set of high frequency words. So our first 5 high frequency words are el, ella, soy, mi, and me. So we have 5 sight words that we introduced this week, and I will not change them weekly. I will change them when I feel like we're at 80% mastery. And I think even 80% is a stretch, because I do have more than 20% of my students who are not on grade level. So it'll be a couple of weeks. It'll probably be even into December, and we might still be on this same high frequency word list. Today, on Friday, during centers, I'm going to introduce some high frequency word games that we're going to play with the words. We haven't done anything really individually. Everything that I've done has been whole group, but today we're going to do like some roll and write and rainbow draw and find the words on a typewriter key, those types of things with the high frequency words, and we're going to see how that goes. Okay, so I've got about 5 more minutes that I can talk with you. Let's see what else we can fit in. For Benchmark, the theme has been necesidades de las plantas y los animales, the needs of plants and animals. We've done 2 anchor texts. Next week, we're introducing the final anchor text for the unit. So we've read stories about Lecciones de Mama Osa, Lessons of the Mama Bear, Crece Calabaza Crece, which is Grow Pumpkin Grow. This week we're doing just another informational text about plants. So we've been doing some writing, journaling. I created a journal that is available in TPT for the unit. It's called Los Seres Vivos. So every day my students are responding in some way in their journal. I'm super impressed. We're keeping it for them, and then at the end of the unit we're going to send it home to parents. I'll give you kind of a close-up of that in just a second, but in the packet it's kind of differentiated based on what your students would need. So like these have the tracing necesito un hogar. There's some that have like a whole sentence, and then they are just filling in the sight word, the blank word, or the noun. We've been working on nouns also. We introduced nouns last week. Then we have some that have the tracing words for labeling, and then I have some that just have the line where the students can make the word themselves. So we have all sorts of levels right now. We have students who are doing beginning sound. We have students who are just tracing what's in front of them. They really are just working on kind of spatial, where to put things, how to draw, just kind of those basics. It's so abstract for some of them at this point that I can't get them to focus on letter sounds. They are just focusing on trying to get a nice picture and then talk to me about the picture. So it's very differentiated. We use the strategy that's very familiar to them. Yo pienso, yo dibujo, yo escribo. So I think, I draw, I write, which is kind of the same as Eureka Math, where we read, we draw, we write. So it's the same structure from math being transferred over to writing. And I think it's going really well. I do have one of my groups that is making more progress than the other, and so that's a little bit challenging just from the day to day. I have to have 2 separate lesson plans for them, and there are aspects that some of the group they're flying with, and some of the group is not. So, but we are going to try to finish up Benchmark Module A before we leave on our Thanksgiving break, and then when we come back from break, we will be doing math and focusing on holiday and family traditions, which is not part of Benchmark. So it'll be interesting to see how we fit that into our day. I haven't decided if I'm going to do the holiday and family traditions during center time, kind of as like do it on your own type thing, so that I'm still having enough time to teach content. Haven't decided that yet. So, and this is not my first year doing this, so you think it's a little bit more easy, but it's definitely not. It gets harder every year because we learn more and there's more that we want to be able to fit into our day. And this year I've really been trying to focus on the speaking and language objectives and making sure that my students have opportunity and time during the day to be speaking and showing me that they are meeting those objectives. So that kind of brings my focus more back to, I just kind of want to stay in Benchmark all day if I could, but my students, just mature wise, they're not ready for that. I'm just going to give you kind of a loop around the room really quickly. Those of you who have been following me have seen my room before. We changed our seating arrangement. My kids needed more space from each other. And I'm hoping that this will help with the volume. So we switched up how the seating arrangement is. My bins up here are still holding strong. Yesterday I did have to get kind of hard on my kiddos about, like, if they take a marker from here, they need to put it back there. If they take an eraser, they need to put it back. If they take a pencil, they need to put it back right there, because then when we go to do those whole group activities at the carpet, I'm missing materials and it's slowing us down and getting us distracted. My students have needed quite a few reminders about what whole body listening looks like. So I made this anchor chart for them this week. Okay. So last week, week 13, I did not get a chance to finish talking about what we were doing and what has changed in the classroom. It ended up being a super busy week as usual, as always, right? Okay, so today is Monday of week 14. And let's talk about a couple of the changes that we've made. So we're first quarter's done and we're midway through second quarter. We have approximately 6 weeks until winter break, and one of those weeks being a full week off for Thanksgiving break. Okay, so I think where we left off last time, we had already gone over what we're doing in math, what we're doing for Benchmark and phonics, reading and writing, and now we're just talking about some of the changes in my classroom. So One of the biggest things that have changed is just routines and procedures. At this point in the year, it's not typical that I am still trying to revamp my behavior management system or still going over routines and procedures. This group needs a lot more reminders and more frequently. And so we've definitely been working on having more visuals, more prompts, and using more of the vocabulary that they need to kind of help them remember, oh, yes, I'm in school right now, and right now I should be exhibiting expected behavior. And what does that look like? So, what does that look like at the carpet? What does that look like in the line? What does that look like at the desk spots? What does that look like in the bathroom, in the cafeteria, when they go to specials? All of those things. So, yes, as a teacher, I've been teaching for almost 20 years, 9 years in the elementary classroom. I'm still struggling with behavior management. And I don't think it is a teacher issue, but yeah, I do take it very personally because it's not something that I've struggled with before. But anyways, let's get into it. Let's see some of the things that have changed around the classroom, and then we'll talk about some things that I am going to change this week before we get ready for winter break. Okay, I think I've already showed you that I changed the seating arrangement just to allow my students more space. Sit spots are still kind of going the same. I've bulked up my front row. There are so many students who need to be more visible, and I feel like some of the behaviors that they have are not as visible if they're sitting right in the front row with me, along with my students who have glasses or special needs for seeing. Pretty sure this is where we left off. This really needs to be in front of some of my students' faces all day long. I even had a student mention how come it's a boy and not a girl. So I think maybe my girls are thinking that they're not having this issue. So I'm debating making a girl one as well, because my girls are some of the busiest busybodies in my classroom. We still do have our classroom promises up here. I am going to kind of revisit this again when we come back from winter break, and where we can talk about things that have been going really well and maybe some promises that have been broken. But for now, I just give them a gentle reminder on Mondays that we did make a classroom promise, and we go over what that looks like. Okay, the dry erase markers are still slowly disappearing. Now each student brings 8 at the beginning of the school year, and we requested all black, but as you can see, most of our blacks have dried up and we moved on to colored ones. So that's just leading to more issues with these dry erase boards that we have. I'm having to clean them in between each individual use because the colored markers do not come off them as well. Okay. This is coming down today. And then I just need to get this laminated. This one says, estoy agradecido por mis estudiantes. Then we've got some little turkeys. I'm going to write all the students' names on there and get those hung up. Our intervention piles are growing. We started with maybe 4 or 5 students in each group. Now we have 13 students in interventions. Some students are still working on how to write their names. And then we have students who are working on number formation and one-to-one correspondence. So we're using some resources from First eMath, which is a Terra West resource, but it's an intervention resource that I purchased when I taught first grade, and a lot of it can be used in kindergarten. This is handwriting. We've gone through all of the letters of the alphabet, so some of my students who still need some extra practice are going through this handwriting notebook. This particular one is available in my TPT store. I also have one with the adapted handwriting lines for students who are dyslexic or just need a better visual of where to start the letters. And this is based on like the icons from Estrellita, which is the phonics curriculum that we mainly use. We are getting ready to do Thanksgiving placemats. So today, after I teach about Veterans Day, we will move into a short, not very long unit, maybe 2 or 3 days, about family traditions and things that we can be thankful for this time of year. Like I said, just because we are only half day and we have so much content that we need to be teaching, I don't spend a lot of time teaching things like voting and elections, Veterans Day, Thanksgiving, all of those types of things. We do have a unit where we talk about holiday traditions and traditions around the world, but those kind of extra things, we don't spend a whole lot of time. We might do a read aloud and a short activity. The Thanksgiving placement is more of just like a keepsake for the parents to have a memory of their kindergarten year. I think it's really great that it can be done in Spanish, and it helps kind of have students apply the language that they've been learning. So we've talked about how we're special and our special talents. We've talked about family members. We've talked about the home and the place where we live. Those are all been vocabulary words thus far. So giving them that sentence starter of I am thankful for, or estoy agradecido por mi mamá, mi papá, mi casa, mi gato, mi perro, mi hermano, those types of things is just kind of reinforcing that vocabulary for them. So we are to a point where most of them are able to write me and then beginning sound for papa. And a lot of my students are even doing first syllable. So I'm really excited to see next week what that will look like when we get into writing the things that they are thankful for on the feathers. I'll give you a little update of what that looks like. It's nothing fancy. It's nothing you've probably never seen before. It's just a turkey with feathers, and each feather has something that they are thankful for. In the past, I've put their little face on the turkey belly. I have too many students for that this year. I will put the date and laminate it, and they can send it home and have that as a keepsake. So it's really hard to keep up with those things when you have 44 kids. I definitely would not be able to do it if I did not have an aide. So very grateful for her that she can help me get those things done for my students for memories. And I'm not even sure if very many parents care, or in the past I have had a couple of parents mention that they were grateful that I did those types of things throughout the year. But also, as a mom of 6, as my students or my own children got older and older, the less and less I took care of those things, if you get what I'm saying. So anyways, so those are just a couple of things that have changed. Also, my task bins. This week we are bringing scissors back into the classroom. We're going to be reintroducing them in small groups only. So during centers, there is going to be a rotation where they're going to be allowed to use scissors again. And then hopefully this week they can show that they can be safe and responsible and not cut hair and clothing or throw them or, cut themselves. And we can reintroduce those as a whole, and we can have a everyday craft during center time. We have not been able to have that for the past 4 or 5 weeks. And I know that those fine motor skills are super, super important. So I'm excited about putting scissors back out in the classroom. Now, it comes from Keeping Up with Miss Harris, I believe the resource is, and I just put their sight words, and then I put the English word, what it means, and then the Spanish sight word. So they had both of them on all of the documents. So they did a type it. I call these puzzle pieces. It's just where they try to get the word box to fit, the big letter, the small letter, which is really great for students who have problem with spatial awareness. Then we did rainbow colors, rainbow write, count and graph, but I only put out 6 of them, explained how to use them. Hopefully found an activity that everybody loved. There was a roll and write, which my boys absolutely loved. I need to remember next week when I do this, or this week on Friday when I do it, to print extras of the roll and write, because that was something that every single boy wanted to do, just because they got to use the dice, and that made it more fun and more exciting. So I put that in centers. So we used to have IXL, phonics, and 2 play centers. Okay, so that is what we started with. Now we are IXL, phonics, math, and 1 play center. So I'm hoping by the end of second quarter, we are able to phase out that play center, and we will have 4 working rotations, all in content. So I feel like that's a little bit slow for what I've been able to do in the past, but we're making it work. It's gonna be fine. They are making progress. Now, I haven't made any purchases for the month of November. I normally only try to spend $10 in my classroom each month, but this month I had 2 donations, which this is amazing because soon in Module 4 for Eureka Math, which will be coming up soon, we will be doing number bonds, and I had a family purchase these jumbo magnetic number bonds for me, and I'm super excited about being able to use them. I don't have to draw the number bond on the board over and over and over again. And then I had another family donate a box of these Brain Flakes, which I don't have a student in my class who doesn't love these. This is one of their favorite stem bins. And I normally split this container up into 4 different stem bins so that their creations can't get too large, but then it's an easy, quick pickup. These are wonderful. They're on Amazon. If you don't have them in your like K through 2 classroom, you definitely should. And then also, if you can see up here, I also had a parent donate a box of Pirate Booty for my kiddos who forget snack. So we do have a snack and a milk time. The district provides kindergartners with a milk every single day, and then they have to bring a snack. At the beginning of the year, hardly anybody was forgetting their snack. Didn't even have to worry about it. Maybe by like 6 to 7 weeks in, we had 1 or 2 kiddos forgetting snack. So we sent up a Sign Up Genius to have 1 parent per month donate 1 big box of snacks, which has been super helpful because lately I feel like I have like 4 or 5 kids every single day who are forgetting snack. So I'm super grateful for that and super grateful that it's not having to come out of my own pocket. And let's wrap this vlog up. Let's wrap it up. I will start a new one next week where we will get into what I'm doing for teaching holiday traditions around the world. And hopefully you can see my new bulletin board up and our finished placements.